And Brendan, you were telling me you were right there when this happened.
Yeah, so I mean, it was pretty packed when I got here. It took me about 30 minutes just to find parking. When I finally got there, there were thousands of people, I would say. He was kind of like in a pit almost, and we were kind of gathered up like some stairs. I kind of moved my way closer. I was about 15 feet away. He was actually just talking about mass shootings too, which is crazy, with the trans shooting that just happened recently with the trans shooter. And as soon as he got done answering the question, we heard a loud pop. He got hit in the left side of his neck and dropped. We all dropped. His security dragged him out of there, and we just ran. So, you know,
Brendan,
it's crazy.
I can't imagine. This is probably terrifying. You're there just to hear the debate, to be a part of this. You hear the shot. You said you hit the ground.
Yeah, obviously, because at first we didn't know what it was. You know what I mean? Right. Once we figured it out, I was more angry, I would say, than terrified. You know, we hear all the time that we're the problem, we're the violent ones, we're the issue, and yet this is the second mass shooting attempt on a political figure. First Donald Trump, now we have Charlie Kirk, but yet we're the problem. I don't know of any mass shootings that happened with Joe Biden. I don't know any of Obama. I don't know of any of the Democratic side, and I'm not trying to be that guy, but like, we got to come together. This is ridiculous. Whether you believe what he says or not, like, we got to stop all this nonsense.
Right, and absolutely pretty close.
I was really close. Watching the whole thing, I was probably on the second level up from, well, I've never been to this place except for classic car shows, so I can't really explain to you, but I was to the left of Charlie, super clear view. Saw everything happen, heard the gunshot. I was the last one standing because I couldn't quite believe. I thought maybe it was a stunt. And then everybody fell to the ground. We all fell to the ground. I got pushed into some bushes. I stayed there. There was a lady with her elderly mom, and I said, "Is she okay?" You know, and she said she's okay. So we just kind of stayed in the bushes for a few minutes, maybe a minute and a half. And then a man said, go this way. And we went right where Charlie had come in and out. And I was right behind the police when they had the man in the handcuffs, and I was standing right there next to them as he was on his knees, and he said, I would say multiple times, but at least twice, just shoot me, just shoot me. And I videoed it, and I called him every name in the book that I could think of, which is probably not appropriate, but I was shaken, ball, and mess. I'm still shaking, and I'm still crying. I love Charlie Kirk. He's awesome. And I pray for him and his family. And I pray for everybody that was here to witness this. It's awful, and I don't understand why we can't have something like this that is truly innocent. You know, there were the non-believers, the ones that didn't like him, and that's fine. But to shoot him, he doesn't deserve this.
That's the part I keep hearing from a lot of people too, is like, look, no matter what side you're on, this shouldn't happen.
Never, never, ever, never.
Talking to you, but one thing that hit me when you were talking is you saw Charlie get shot.
Yes.
And then you were waiting because I think you don't know where it came from. You don't know how many people there are. You don't know what's going. That's terrifying.
Right, and like I said, I wasn't sure because he was literally talking about how many mass shootings from trans people. That's literally what they were talking about when it happened. And when I saw him get shot, I like I said, I was probably the only one standing still for a minute because I was like, what the heck just happened? I thought maybe it wasn't real. And unfortunately, it was real.
Now you...
Yeah.
Explain to me what you saw.
Yeah, so I was in the front row, and I was preparing to ask Charlie a question because I film a lot of videos out here in Utah, and it was going to be more lighthearted, and I was just watching him speak with somebody that he was debating with, and then I just heard a shot, you know, ring out, and I was watching Charlie the entire time, and then his left neck, I saw a bunch of, you know, just a lot of blood just squirting out. Haven't seen that before.
And what was your thought as you stand there and you witness this? Did it take you a second to process it, or did you immediately know what was going on?
At first, I couldn't believe it at first. You know, like I said, I haven't seen this before, so at first I was like, there's no way this is real. and then everyone is just getting down. Everyone's piling onto each other. People are running out, trying to get out of the way, of course. Thank goodness shots weren't fired onto the students. But everyone, of course, there's a lot of fear that just arose out of left field.
And then what was the immediate reaction? Were people trying to help each other? Was it more of just everybody started to panic and try and get out there? Kind of describe the scene with what people were doing.
It was mostly panic. People just trying to run out, get out of the way. At first everyone was just piling onto each other. Then people started to run out, run around the barricades, hide around cars and stuff. And then people started to just leave. So I just hopped in a car with a couple fellas I met, and thankfully they just drove me out, dropped me off somewhere, and we were good.
Now, just describe where it was, because I saw a video, and he's underneath his canopy. It's on a chair. Where was it? Was there a lot of space out where people were speaking, or was it kind of enclosed? Kind of describe that space.
So I was behind the barricade, and there were about 5 people in. I was behind the barricade, and there were about 5 people in line. Ahead of me, I'd say I was about 15, 20 feet away from him. And there was space in between, of course, the barricade and him, and he had his security and all of his folks that work with him. But yeah, in the crowd there were so many people, and then you had a bunch of folks behind him on a wall, hanging LGBTQ flags, speaking their voices. Mm-hmm. So it was a lot of folks.
All right, hold on a second, Alex. And then, as you saw the wound on his neck, because it looks like the gunshot went off, he did this and fell over. Was there much more to that? Did he move when he hit the ground? Was he saying anything or trying to say anything?
From what I saw, I just saw the blood bursting out, and then he just fell. I don't know if he put up his hand at all. I just saw him fall over once blood started gushing out.
Okay. I think that's all the questions I've got for you. Is there anything else I'm not asking you want to mention?
Nothing off the top of my head.
Okay.
Much for a test, so I didn't get to stop and see, but I did get to see the venue. It was super pretty. Whole student body was there. It was super pretty to see. Got here, and it seemed like everything was in chaos. They were super hesitant about letting us test.
Before we get to the test, though, I want to just take us back to where you were in the venue, because you said you actually witnessed the shooting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so when they shot, it was, I wasn't actually there. I just saw it afterwards, the aftermath. The cops rushing up, the helicopters flying in. I just saw videos afterwards. It was probably 2 minutes after I left that I actually got to see what happened.
You got video from another student, because you said it was very gruesome. What do you mean by that?
Yes, ma'am. The video I had showed the side camera of it, so it was him getting shot in the neck, and you can just see his neck go limp and all the blood come out, stuff like that. Super gruesome scene. I'm super glad I didn't see it in person.
Did you, at that moment, go to, what is going on? What were you thinking at that point?
Definitely panic mode. As soon as I saw that, I knew, well, I'm here on campus. I don't think they're going to let us test, and sure enough, they didn't. Obviously, super panicked. I felt for him, watching him for years. I definitely felt a little bit of sorrow for his family, too. But yeah, state of panic, and definitely just a little bit hurt for him and his family. He is a dad of 2 kids.
Now, it's unique being that you're in high school and you watch Charlie Kirk. You said that your dad and grandpa watch him, and last night you were watching a YouTube video, is that right? And you didn't even know he was going to be here.
I didn't even know he was going to be here. He popped up on my For You page on TikTok, and I was just scrolling through, and I love watching his debates, especially as somebody who's big into English. I was watching his debates and learning how he argues, and I actually definitely base a lot of what he does into my own life, which is big for me, being a student, especially being in an English class.
Now, does he ever talk about violence, or is it? You mentioned he was more Christian-based, and so this seems just out of the ordinary.
It is absolutely out of the ordinary. I can't believe that this even happened. He never talks about violence. It's not something he's big into. He's just into the argumentative side.
That's exactly what happened, what you saw.
So, I was just watching him speak, and he was talking about gang violence, and then I just hear a loud pop, and I'm looking at him, and it doesn't even look real. I'm only 18 years old. I've never experienced a lot of death in my life, but this is the first time I've ever seen somebody die, and my heart was just racing. It was so scary, and I was just appalled. Everybody just flopped to the floor, and I just tried to do what everybody else was doing. It was really scary.
Oh, I can't even imagine how scary that would be. Did you drop to the ground as well? Were you waiting to see, is there going to be another shooting? I mean, what was going through your mind?
Yeah, I instantly just dropped to the floor. I didn't know if he was a mass shooter, like he was there to shoot everybody there. But when I was on the floor, there were some group of people at the top. They cheered when he got shot. And I was just appalled. I couldn't believe the lack of human life that some people have.
The lack of empathy there. Oh, that's appalling. I agree. Now, when you saw what you saw, did you have a certain direction that you heard the shot come from, or did you think it was just one shooter?
Yeah, so I was facing towards him, and it looked like the shot came from my left, so his right, and it just went through his neck and out the other side. It was gruesome.
Now that we're still